Hello folks, this is Robert Franz. Well, it's that time of the year, folks, for remembrances of 9/11, so I decided to give this for prosperity case because of me being a former Army during that time from 2005, but this happened in 2001, where I was and everything else. But let's start the timeline from, for example, for measurement, you can look at the bottom where they show how long the video lasts with the red line. Pretty much we're going to go like that, from left to right, from left to right, which in this case will be this way, from this way, over, instead. But from our video, we'll have to start over here and go. So we'll start pretty much where pretty much what we call the mastermind of this event, of why we remember this day. So we have to start back probably in the 70s, the late 70s, early 80s, during the beginning of the Cold War, which the Russians were trying to go into Arab countries like Afghanistan, Iraq. So that's where a person called, if you ever watched the movie Charlie Wilson's War, that was based off a real person. So Charlie Wilson, I don't know if that's his real name, actually found some insurgents to try fighting the Russians at the time. Well, some probably we would find out later we should have never trained, because these people we trained actually became our enemy later on. But we get into pretty much the 80s was where most of that happened, testing of a lot of our weapons with the Iraqis, the insurgent Iraqi forces. But we go into almost the 90s. We end up having to go in from like 88, 89 to the end of 91, 92. We had Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm, which I remember because I was pretty much able to remember that because I was 5 in 91. So 91, we finally heard about one person who was the mastermind, Osama bin Laden. Some people think he may have been traced back to the beginning over here with Charlie Wilson, with the try to stop the Russians from taking over the Arab countries, give more strength and power. But that's the first time we ever heard Osama bin Laden's name. So Osama bin Laden started, we actually got him pretty much to help us to push Saddam Hussein, who's now also dead years later in recent time. But we keep going. Now we pretty much successfully pushed him back. That was during because Desert Shield was just protecting the Kuwaiti border, which was Kuwait from Iraq, which is, here's Iraq. This hand is Iraq. This hand's Kuwait. They're both, one's north, one's south. Kuwait is south. Iraq is north. Right underneath. And pretty much things like, people have said mustard gas, he used a lot of different deadly things amongst these people. They were told to protect that border. If they come, you fight. But really, they didn't really fight at the border. Most people didn't know when it turned over to Desert Storm. Desert Shield was a protection measure. But then President H.W. Bush, who was the president at the time, who W. Bush's daddy, that's his dad, told him, forget this, we're going straight in. So we went in and pretty much demolished Saddam's tanks, a lot of his armament, by just simple tank campaign and air raid, just dropping bombs on these weapons silos, just dropping them. So where they kept all their armament, if you don't understand armament silos. It's where they keep their weapons or build their weapons. It's either or. And if you destroy that, the war is pretty much over. That's how we won wars before. During World War I and World War II, same thing. We couldn't do that in Vietnam or Korea because they were mobile. They moved the weapons with them. But I don't want to get off topic. But once Desert Storm ended, when pretty much now we're into the from like '93 when Clinton started his administration, when he was elected in. That '92 election, when I think it was '92 or '94, I don't remember 100%, but I think it was '94 or '92. I'm very rusty with that, so I'm gonna give you this, meaning I'm rusty at it on that. But Bill Clinton, by God, probably his second term in '98, around there, the late '90s. That's when he was getting reports written. This is written down by a lot of people in his administration that pretty much was declassified. Some of it, that there were reports of Osama bin Laden pretty much had plans to bomb pretty much take out the Twin Towers, take out DC, the Pentagon, pretty much take out a lot of people. Clinton didn't do nothing about it, which now we're into 2000 where W. Bush came in, H.W.'s father, George H.W. Bush, Herbert Walker Bush, got into office. He was only in office maybe, God, only 2 years, not even a year, really, maybe even a year or two. And you get the Tower event now. It was September 11th, 2001. I'm going to give you a little timeline. The first two planes were coming out of, if I remember right, from Massachusetts, out of Boston. 2 planes were coming out of there, and 2 planes from San Diego or San Francisco, one of those two. Because here's how things go. At 8:46, the first plane hits the North Tower, which I remember pretty fondly. No one really knew. The first one to report was CNN. CNN reported this, and then about at 9:03 in the morning, the second tower got hit, which was the second plane. They were both the Boston plane, both from the Boston. So then they finally CNN said actually was attacked on the United States. At that time, they actually had film where W. Bush was. He was down in Florida reading to children when he got reports of pretty much. Wait 1 minute. It was after. Hold on 1 minute. But 9:37, the Pentagon was hit by the third plane, which was the first plane from San Diego, or I think it was San Diego 100% now, which hit the Pentagon. Then around almost about 5 minutes later, that's when pretty much W. Bush found out the news. And pretty much he was reading books to children at the time. Media gave him a big black eye about it. But not being at the pretty much the White House when he did it, when it happened. But he was scheduled to do this. Why miss this? As president, it's an honor for these kids. Then at 10:03 a.m., the fourth and final plane pretty much crashes. Because at first they thought it just went, it just saw on the radars, it just went blank. It didn't pop up because this was United 33, plane 33, United 333, which was already known to be hijacked. If you can get all the numbers of every plane that was taken over. I think two were America and two was United. The two Uniteds were from the West, while the America was all from the East. Uh, or there was one of each from both. But that one hit outside of Pittsburgh, my home state, which I'm on the East Coast, east side of the state. So this hit the west side of my state. So it's not pleasant. Which is now I'm done with all the information on that, because I pretty much this happens when I was freaking 14. This is 14 years old. This is 11 years ago. I'm 20, almost 26 now. I was 14 heading on 15, for crying out loud. This change, imagine that when you're a teenager seeing this happening on camera, on video, watching it on TV, seeing it, and you know, because you're taught all 50 states, and you're seeing it actually happen right in front of your face. Because the first one, we didn't know what happened. They just turned it on. The second one, we knew. We saw it. We saw the plane coming in and hitting it. And if you're on the East Coast or even West Coast, you might have looked at the today, how it looked very nice, just a little cold, maybe even same or almost the same. It was almost the same as that day, because it was a nice warm day, clear. If you're in New York today, it was same in my state, clear as New York was. It was clear. I remember that it was clear as day. You can see the blue sky now. When you pretty much take a look at New York right now, it's like, oh my God. Well, I'm gonna stop this one and start the next one.